What's good, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. And back we have friend of the show, psychologist Cherish. And today we are talking about anxiety, what anxiety is, ways to cope with anxiety, all that and more. Let's get into it. Today we are talking about something that I feel like I have my PhD in, anxiety.
First, we all.
No, for real. First off, what is the difference between anxiety and distress?
I feel like the difference with anxiety and complete outright distress, out of control, is when you're not able to do your normal processes. So if you are not able to function, like you find yourself not going to classes because you can't handle being in front of people, so you're failing. Like, that's one example. It's an extreme example, but that's an example where you would need to go in and get some help with that. Some other situations would be like if you're just finding that you're not able to go to work because you're too anxious or you're not able to perform at the level that you want. Mm-hmm. That's really some telltale signs of it being more of stress instead of just anxiety.
And when is it to the point that you feel like you need to get help, and what is that help that you should be looking for or seeking?
When it's stopping you from doing the things you want to do, that's a good telltale sign that it's time to get some help, because all of us could benefit from just some coping skills, right? And that's all they're going to provide you in a psychology session or in a therapy session, is just provide you with some unique coping skills that we're not really taught by our parents and our families. It's unique.
Me personally, I feel like my peak anxiety is probably like social anxieties and things like that.
That's a big one. I see a lot. Mm-hmm.
What is like some factors that can help you with that? And I feel like it's always like you're going to have anxiety or like nerves when you're presenting or going into a social situation. But what is like the difference where it's like an issue that you should work on? And then what are some ways that can help with social anxiety?
If you don't mind, I kind of want to take it back a little bit, because to explain why you're having that social anxiety in this situation, it's kind of a biological feature. So in earlier times when we didn't have like our brick homes and things like that, whenever we were out in the more wild where other animals and beasts were, that's when anxiety would kick in, and it was benefiting us. So I'm not saying all anxiety is bad. So it would benefit us to have that fight or flight. We need that, or freeze. Whenever we're out in the woods now and we're camping and we encounter a bear, we need that high anxiety kick in, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not that anxiety is bad and stay away from it. It's just when it's going to that impairment level. Now, to your point, nowadays, we don't need that anxiety as much because we have our homes that we don't have to be like, a tiger's outside and run. We don't need it to kick in as nearly as much as before. So what's happening is our bodies will kick it in even though it's not needed. Like, a person's there. They might interpret what I'm saying wrong or think I'm stupid or whatever the case may be. I'm looking awkward. Whatever those intrusive thoughts that come into your mind that happen while you're in the situation. That is not necessary, and it can cause high stress and things that are really not beneficial to you. So in answer to your question, ways to know when it is too far is when you find yourself not engaging in those things that you want to engage in. So if you want to have a conversation and you want to be a party person that's like, hey, I'm the life of this situation, I am the life of the party, I'm the one people can talk to, face your fears. Start small. Create a little chart for yourself of your goal. My goal is to go over and talk to a guy, for example. I'm going to work up to that goal by first talking in a group setting. I'm going to talk with group of people with my friend by me. Okay, talking with a group with my friend gone. Okay, now I'm gonna talk with one-on-one with a girl. All right, now I'm gonna move up to the guy. Take whatever it is, whatever the situation is. That's just one of the things that I see with people. But just work your way up to it. Facing your fears is a way to combat what you thought about yourself, what you thought other people were saying about you. It's like, they didn't make that face and run away like I thought they would. Right? I did it and it didn't happen. So mark that off. That's not an issue. Some deep breathing always helps. That's another coping skill. I always push for deep breathing. Make sure you're breathing from the stomach and the diaphragm, not from up here, the chest, that's not giving you any air at all. So we want to breathe from the stomach. That's always helpful too.
Yeah, one thing for me is being more assured in myself, and you have to do it in tangible ways, like with like getting, if you feel insecurities about like your body or something with your face, something like that, fixing those things. Not saying plastic surgery, I'm saying like acne and things like that, and working out, then you feel more confident in yourself, and that kind of eliminates some of my anxieties with that. Like as I lost weight, I felt like I lost some anxiety. Of course I still had to struggle with it, but it did help.
Yeah, and if you, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like if you go a couple episodes back here, that's what when we were talking about that ideal self and knowing your values and what makes you feel important and what you're doing, and that's kind of what you were doing. But also knowing that in the moment, it's still important to know that in the moment while you're working towards that ideal self and that amazing you are still already amazing in who you are, and you still have a lot to contribute to society and to your world that you're in. So that's that important balance to keep.
What are a few exercises or a few tips that you can give to someone who they can practice either daily or right before an event that makes them anxious, whether that be a presentation, a date, anything like that?
Yes. So I will go back to the deep breathing as one, because that is the number one piece that has been proven biologically. Your parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system cannot operate at the same time. It's just impossible. Nobody's ever done it. Nobody ever will. We're not made that way, right? So deep breathing, what it does is it kicks on the other one to knock off the other one, right? It's kicking one off and kicking one on so that you can be at calm and at peace. But it takes practice. So practicing it daily for about 5 minutes a day. Slow, deep breath in, 4 seconds. Pause. Slow, deep breath out, 4 seconds. Good. Except for you used your shoulders. I don't like that. No. No. But
wow, that is a difference.
Yeah, it's very different. And guess what? Your brain needs oxygen. Who knew? It's going to calm you a lot more. So that's the number one that I push all the time. That's the number one coping mechanism that I say. Another one you can do is muscle relaxation, progressive muscle relaxation. So there's a lot of videos online you can check out. They're free. But if you would
we'll actually link it in the description below.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, he got you covered. Like, look at this guy. Amazing. But so if you do that, that's going to again, your body can't maintain tensed for but so long. It's going to fatigue out, right? And so that's what we're doing, is just really picking minor parts of your body to feel and to grasp and to release. And then I'll give you a third one, and that's mindfulness. Mindfulness strategies of just having that awareness of your body. While you're deep breathing, notice how your breath is. Is it slow? Is it rapid? What does it sound like? Try and liken it to something that's abstract. You know, is it like the ocean? Does it sound like the wind? What does it sound like? Really be intrigued by different areas of your body. Get to know yourself. What's my heartbeat like? You know, is it slow? Is it rapid? What's going on? Is that a tense spot that I feel in my shoulder? How do I make that less really explore yourself? Because we don't take time to do that. We just don't.
One thing that I just recently started to was journaling. Writing down my thoughts, writing down my concerns, writing down my goals, like you said, really helps with like seeing it and expressing it in like a journal has been helping with my anxiety.
That's super important. That's one of the number one things. If you look into cognitive behavioral therapy, yeah, that's a lot. Mindfulness is more act based, so that's another theoretical orientation. But what you're talking about is how that mind, and I say this a lot, thoughts impact emotions, impact behaviors, right? So if you see your thoughts out in the open on paper, you see what that process was, because we have a million thoughts at one time happening in our heads. That's what thinking is this conversation content continually going on. It's ongoing, and we can't shut it off really. So seeing that on paper in and of itself is therapeutic. So that's incredible that you're doing that. Also labeling your emotions. Get yourself an emotion list, because we don't have all of the vocabulary sometimes to be able to know what emotion we're having attached with each thought. And it can be conflicting emotions.
Okay.
But just seeing it on paper, being able to read and know what it was that you're feeling and not have that confusion and that blur that happens all at once when our bodies are doing these things is therapeutic in and of itself.
Yeah, I agree. Well, all right, Cherish, thank you for coming again. Hopefully something in this helps you out. And if you want to see more of Cherish, I have a whole playlist that's mental health related. And there's tons of videos. We talked about self-love. We talked about binge eating, now anxiety. So go ahead and check that out. Follow Cherish on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And we will see you when, Cherish?
Next time.
Next week.